Top Dome ladies, my name is Chaz, and welcome to the What If Zuko was the most overpowered character. I'm talking about like Alien X, kinda, or anything that's too overpowered for anyone to handle. I was gonna draw him out before this started, so plus he doesn't have a quirk, but he has a attribute. I was gonna say skill. Oh, but so in him that allows him to become. So let's begin. Like usually, and I am also gonna throw in for his sister. You guessed it, her. I'm throwing her in there too. So let's begin with. Oh, not there. Not there. There. Sorry, I was itching my ear when I did that. Okay. So, Zuko was born with that power thing. And he was like, okay. As when he hit 4 years old, he went to a quirk doctor, and the quirk doctor says, well, sorry, Inko, your son doesn't have a quirk. As Inko, and where is it? Oh, this is way better. So, Inko was like, oh, man. Because as he says, but that was only a bad news. But good news is he's a new type of quirk thing. It's kind of weird. And as Inko says, how so? Oh. As the doctor says, well, if my hypothesis is correct, your son is the most powerfulest one. Or actually, scratch that. So she left before the doctor even told her that. So she got rid of him by abandoning him. I know, all these, like, what ifs comes from my dreams. So, they abandoned him. But he still, hanged out with Bakugo. Could go. He still hangs out with his good friend Bakugo. But that happens. Bakugo's like becoming the canon one. Sorry. So at the doctor's, he says, "How rude. That boy is too powerful for Inko to realize that." As the one of the nurses asked why, as she was kind of curious, as he says, "That boy's attribute, I prophesize it's an attribute, is the he is basically the entire universe, multiverse, everything." As the nurses looked at him and said, "Wait, what? Are you telling me, or are you telling us that that kid that you told him that he was quirkless, had a power to destroy everyone if he chose to?" Yes. Yes. It's so he like told the nurses that, and then as the next one, so the Zuko in this timeline couldn't believe that his own, he couldn't believe his own mother abandoned him. I'm talking about this version of Zuko, not a canon one. So he gets abandoned, and so she decides, or she actually told him to leave and never come back. As he says, "Okay." And then he left, permanently. And then Inko and Sashi had another child. And I'm keeping her name of Malin Naga, but I'm just adding Midoriya part to her. So she's Malin Naga Midoriya. She's at first she's like, okay. And she's all cute and all that stuff. She had 4 quirks putting into her, or she was born with. She had her father's fire breath quirk. It's just multiple quirks, a lot of quirks. She's the same. She's actually a same power level as her brother, but so then, but at the curve, where homeless people are, Zuko was like, home sweet home, or Then when one of the days, one of the days, he did not mean to, and or he woke up. Sorry, trying to clean my voice box out. So one day he woke up, his skin was all, or actually not skin, but he realized that buildings, like wall things, was covering him, just him, like a roof, kind. But so, then, he says, what is this? It's just like him, he says, what is this? Is this some type of quirk that someone's using on me? Or as his memories, or then his, like, the concrete, like, blocked him in, as his own body started to change into this one. And so he, as he looks at himself like, what is this? Some type of, it must be a new attribute that I have. That's what Zuko is saying in his head. As he flies all the way to the ocean and looked at himself, and he scared himself. That doesn't mean that as bunch of security guys were like policemen, because whoever's not registered, their quirks are gonna be eliminated thing. So basically, they went, and what they saw was God themselves, as he put your hands up behind your head, or we will open fire. As he looks at them, because he actually, or they put some bullets, because he's not talking, so they're shooting at him as he had his hands up, but they shot at him for it. So then he ends up not getting killed, but the bullets, do you see that green thing? Or actually his entire body made out of green. Or no, I'll just leave it as that color. So he, or the black hole thing, he absorbed the bullets inside of himself, as he was quite literally, like, when he used his voice, like his normal voice, like talking to them, it resets the entire timeline, or resets them into where they were at a few minutes ago. So he needs to get that checked out, as he flies back to the quirk doctor, as the quirk doctor says, you have returned, Zuko, or your mother is such a pain. You're not wrong, she kicked me out of the house. Oh, okay. And don't worry, as he was very nice to Zuko. So he told him that when when I took your DNA thing, and I saw a special, attribute in and skills inside of your body, as he explains to Zuko that, so you're basically a immortal gun that has no limit to your powers. Hours. You can never die, you can never be hungry or anything. Just immortal or mortal. As he explains that on the computer. So, as he says, don't worry. As he was like, you meant to. Did you meant to say that in front of her before? Yes, I was gonna, but then your mother took you away. As he was so, upset, as he, put both of his fists, slams them and breaks the table in two. As he says, "You're okay, Zuko. After all, you're immortal. You can handle all these powers without any hesitation." As his own angry, as he knows how he's feeling that all that rage. So he ends up walked away, and then at the same time that he was walking out, guess who walked in? It was Inko, who was with her son, or with her daughter. As so she sees him. So she, or actually, her husband notices something completely off. So he walked up to Zuko in that form. He walked up to him and asked him, "What's your name, boy or man?" "My name is Zuko Midoriya. May I help you?" As he tilts his head, as Inko turns around and heard that name, and she sees what her own son is being powerful. She did not even realize that her son is literally standing right in the front, right in front of Horikoshi thing. And so but she still took Malinaga Midoriya. This is my version. So she gets her quirk checked, and she has the Gun of Destructions quirk. Basically, or kind of, yeah. Oh, sorry, my nose. So basically, she can have a power level of 32 million, trillion, billion. So she's the same power level as Zuko's, as she, or as Inko says, yay. Okay? And so the Quark Doctor says, oh, by the way, the Inko, your son was here a few minutes before you did. And he left a few minutes after. As Inko was like, well, what did you mean? You told me something about, or you were going to tell me something, and I went out. As a Quark Doctor says that, oh, your son, by the way, has this unique attribute / skill / he has everything inside of him. With that much power he has, you're glad that. As he tells him, or tells Inko that your son's the most powerfulest man in the universe, multiverse. As Inko says, wait, so I have two powerhouse things entire time, and you sure about lashing out, by the way. But still, I can't believe that my son's a powerfulest being. He's just talking to my husband right now. So he says, or actually, her father, I'll just use this, but this is not totally accurate, but her father, hers, was talking to Zuko about the many other things. But then, so he says, I'm gonna jump, or he says, sorry to be, I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm just gonna go train on my power. As Inko, or he left way before Inko even came out. So she told Asashi that we have two powerhouse that we knew until the doctor told us. As her, he says, who was that? And that you were talking to, Daddy? And that's what she's saying. Oh, that boy, or that man, his name's Zuko Midoriya, as she, or as they're like, so now they're going to, they skipped a entire all the way to they're 15. So Inko, sorry, Inko told, oh, now has calmly told her in when she was 14 of now you're ready to be, or actually she told her that Zuko Midoriya fella is actually your brother, as she's like, wait, what? As she was like, yeah, I'm not kidding about that. And as so then when he might not remember you, but he will sure remembers me, because heck, we told as Inko looks at Hisashi and tells him, or still tells her that it because of what we screwed up on. As she says, what do you mean by screwing up? Well, we thought he was quirkless, but then after the doctor told us that your brother has a unique attribute that can never be stopped. So then they all applied to UA. Him in his dark form, and he like straight up like he was such a he remembers everything. Like or when he was 14, all of the homeless people, or after his power fully awakened, all the homeless people looked at him, and or one of them says, "Don't worry, we'll all be right behind you." Because they were such a nice guys and girls. So they were like, respects him. No, without his heroics one, he looked at and he blinked, or not blinked, but he did that, what he did in that end. And the getaway car was stopped right in the middle of a tracks with people. It's like time froze for them. As so then police officers, like, wow. As then 15 came, him and her. So they went to that exam, and they're so smart. So I'm skipping that part now, because the Zuko who actually destroyed everything, or destroyed all the robots by just he clapped so loud that shockwaved, and it destroyed a bunch of 1-pointers, 2-pointers, 3-pointers, and his. So then one day, or like the First day, Zuko wasn't late. He was super early. Like, he was there before everybody. Like, heck. They said, okay, Zuko, now you're in class 1A. As you broke a All Might's record, and so then he ends up going to class 1A. With that much power, he can. So his sister was in class 1A too. So when the Zuko was the first one there, sat down and he was reading the book. Or he used his own warp thing. He created his own pocket universe. Sorry. He created his own pocket universe where he can grab any book as he was pretty powerful. Like, he could destroy anyone. But so then, if he just so decides to, and then Mr. Aizawa was, he noticed as Zuko, like, was sitting down reading the book. As he says, that's interesting. As everyone was coming late except for Zuko because of. So he was like, interesting. As he was like doing that, and Mr. Aizawa says that. Well, as her, that's interesting. As Mr. Aizawa had respect for him. And so the quirk assessment test, the Zuko, it was the ball throw first one. So he got a highest point thing. And he threw the ball so fast that no one ever saw him throw a ball. As he looks at them, they could never tell that he in a million years. So he ends up getting the lot higher than everyone. Like Ochako's Infinity one was nothing. Because it landed on the flippin' sun. As he was like, yep. And so then he also had, of course, his sister was like admires him, like, can't believe he's my brother kind of look. And then Todoroki, on the other hand, was all upset because he wanted to be number one, instead of that quirked one. So did Bakugo. So then Bakugo ends up getting like they were like, okay. And so then the heroes versus villains thing, Zuko had an epic battle against his sister. Like I'm skipping so his sister was in that costume. Her brother was in like the costume thing. And so he was like, okay. And Malin Naga, are you ready? And she says, yep. Aren't you? She almost like said, are you ready, little brother? Or big brother? Because she remembered that he doesn't even remember her being. So then one day, or they were clashing, like boom, 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 boom. Fight went on, and then he got grabbed by her brother's hand, and like threw, like caused such a bad tornado that almost destroyed the entire fake city and threw her across the entire fake city, hitting the like 5 buildings or 6 buildings at a time. Boom, 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 boom. As he was a powerhouse. She looked like a twig compared to her brother. That kind of makes sense because she admires her. She actually wanted to become like what Zuko is, or her brother is, more accurate term. So she gets up and she says, "That was fun," and they're like, "Heck, Endeavor showed up before," and he was like, "Okay, what's this bull crud?" And then when he saw that, and he was like, "What the heck?" Everybody was looking at that, like, what the heck? How powerful is Zuko? As Inko and Asashi has finally decided, like, they're like, okay, because they know that Zuko won't be able to, because they had no idea how powerful he was until, so they ended up laying realizing it. And so the end of the day thing, of course, the dorm system was built when they were only 13 years old. And it was done completed, so they all went to their dorms and took a nap thing. And so Zuko customized his room to make it more like planetarian. Like basically entire solar system. That kind of makes sense because his body is made out of all these like solar system. So they're like, or when everybody saw their when everybody saw their, or all the classmates saw his, they were like blown away, like, what? How are you doing that? As Momo notices there was a second door. Like he says, or she told, or it was not Momo, it was Ochako, asked Zuko if what does this door goes to? As Zuko stops her, saying, that door is my personal door. As she says, what do you mean? Well, it's basically, you know that term, I actually have extended rooms in there. Like each one goes to a different universes. Okay, can we see? Sure. As he opens the door and he walks right in. There was layers on layers of doors. As he opened one door, it was on the moon. Like, heck, Tinya Ito was not, like, interested in that. But then when someone said that, he walks in and sees, like, what the heck? Is this a real moon? Yes. And look down, and don't worry. Alright. You're in my dome. You don't even realize it. So, he walks through and sees, or they see the real Earth all the way. Is this teleport? They said yes. Or he says, yeah. He actually he grabs the door from his own personal hangers things that allows him to go into his bedroom from anywhere on the world. So he like tells them each world or each door goes to like planets or solar systems. Like that one I labeled, or all of these are labeled. Like that one goes to the moon, this one goes to the sun. And as everybody's like, heck, when Todoroki, where is he? Todoroki was like not interested at first, but when he heard that there was a moon, so he walks in and sees like entire planetarian thing, and it was like his own little personal world. And when he was 12 years old, before I forgot, when he was 12 years old, he was actually made the entire earth by just taking sand, earth, water, and air, and fire to make his own. Everyone saw how powerful he was in it. So then they're like doing all that stuff. He was like, yeah, I'm not interested in that. So he ends up going, let's go. As they go to like the different area, near my door, as he grabs the small door from a coat hanger thing, puts it in his like pocket, because they told him that that's pretty cool. And he says, this door that I have in my hand goes no matter where I'm at. I always can teleport back to the dorm, like my own door room. Eh? As he said, wow. As it was now the USJ thing. So he, like, before I forget, I grab a door thing. As he goes, and he was already prepared, because his outfits just crawl onto him and put themselves on him. Like, they saw his closet and, like, looks pretty normal, but then when he, like, as they're like, as he says, well, is it nap time or sleep time? And his Jeremy Bottoms and his shirt jumped off of their like hangers, creeping some of them out, like, as they like slithered right to Zuko and put it on him. Let me remind you, they are wearing these dorm clothes. So the dorm clothes that he has goes back to this, or actually, because there was a washer and dryer underneath. They're like, wow, Zuko, how did you? Okay, as it was actually Bakugo. How did you do all that without? As he says to them that, well, I am the most powerfulest one. As he was pretty powerful, sorry. So his sister was admiring how cool her brother is. She wanted to say it, but they know that, or she knows that if she does, So then Inko, or she told, or after USJ, or during the USJ, she ends up, or all of them ended up going to like different things and stuff. But the Zuko was being a powerhouse, as he does the same thing what he the Het did, and like took uh, them, like froze all the villains in place by just whoosh. Sorry. So then, so his, like, after USJ, is, or their mother, her Inko, says, or actually told her, or actually she told Inko that I almost told him that your little brother or big brother. Yeah. As because she knows that she's trying to, like, remembers who, or she actually does remember him. So so one day, or like after, or before 2 weeks, or no, during the 2 weeks, Inko literally walks over to Zuko and finally confesses to him of the do or this is what she says: do you want to come back to us? As he says, or actually he says this: well, do you want me back? I don't mind. So all these powers are. So then Inko says, yes, and your sister is waiting for you. As he, or as Zuko says, what do you mean, my sister? Because he never really meant. So she tells him that, yes, and you need to come back to us. I know that what I said, but just now I'm regretting it. As he says, fine, I will. As he comes, or he, good to have you back. As they both, like, they were hugging, and then So they were like, they treated him like, not garbage, but treated him such nice. So then, so she walks up to him and says, "Hey, big brother." As so he says, "Hey, little sister, are you excited about the sports festival, by the way?" As she says, "Heck yeah." As she says, "You caught me off guard before. It won't happen again." As she just like, or he says, "Yeah." So then 2 weeks have passed. They trained their quirks or their powers thing. And so and it was a two bedrooms apartment. So that means that he has to share his bedroom with his sister. As so because and his sister didn't know about the door thing, but Inko didn't know that. As he tells her that you always could just as he and now it was nighttime, so he says, "I'm gonna head back to my bedroom." As your sister's bedroom, right? Or as so then he puts this little door thing and it activates and it like creates a door. So he opens it and he walks right through, closes the door. Here. Like what wait, what? As because heck, Horikoshi or whatever her husband's name was shocked too. As Malin Naga Midoriya, say that 20 times, and was like, yeah, he does that. And his bedroom looks awesome. As he tells his or he tells or she tells her brother if that's okay to go into his room. As he says, okay, yeah. As they all walk in and they see like universes after universe laying, son, how powerful are you? That's what they're really. As Inko says, what's that door over there? As he or as she unlocked it or she opened it and she sees there was planets after planets. There doors after doors. So they're like, what are all these? Oh, these are my laying. If I wanted to travel to the moon, the sun, or anywhere, I just open the door and walk right through. Like, we could just go right to Texas and then come back before her without anyone realizing it. So then his mother's like, whoa, that's cool, actually. So, demonstration is here. I'll open this door. In it labeled the moon. As he opens the door, they pop their heads in, or he walks out, and nothing happens to him. But as they were walking out, whoa, that's cool. And this is actually, they teleported to there. So don't worry about the air thing flying out. It has a barrier around it. So now watch as he can easily, you see that rock thing over there? Or actually, he actually grabbed. Sorry, my phone's almost gonna take a snooze on me, but I'm like, no, don't do it. So he ends up grabbing a piece of moon thing and came right back, and he it turns into a moon, small moon, as he added to that. As they were pretty surprised about how powerful their son has become. Plus, with the extra door there, it's like, okay, or Zuko. And they're like, wow. And less, Inko says, this is more cleaner than your sister's room. As she says, why? As went into her room, and she has just a little stuff like newspaper articles. As I almost forgot, or of course, he says, I almost forgot about one thing. As he was in his school's outfit thing, so he ends up becoming he was in his jammies in about 1 second, because his closet has these little things that so he ends up getting, so his school uniform was getting cleaned out and freshly clean. And so he and they hang themselves back up. Or hang, I can't, my mom always corrects me about it. Or someone corrects me. Okay? So they were like, wow, you have your, a automatic cleaning your clothes thing. Yeah. And then, so now the sports festival thing. Are you ready, sister? That's what Zuko looked at his sister says, or, ready? She's like, heck yeah. So at the sports festival went a little bit similar to canon, but the Zuko in this what if and his sister was too powerful. So they ended up going all the way around, not taking any shortcuts, or he actually used offense and defense. Like he keeps running so fast. They had no stamina. As he like boom. Plus they both agree that they both split points. 50-50 thing. Heck. And as two people that find that really powerful was actually two strangers. One with white hair and one with red, or actually one white hair with blue eyes, and one with red hair and red eyes. Both of them, like, those two are power crafters, aren't they? Because they know that, and with all that power that they have, because they were pretty powerful at first. So the legendaries, that's what they're are. So legendary that corporation, it's like they have their own set of rules that they only follow. So they so his or her brother or her brother says, how about we both join team or same team? As she says, okay. As he, with his long range attacks, and her was unbeatable. Like they were won and with 10 million points because both of them were on the same team. Because as Dark Shadow wasn't on that team, it's just both of them. So they both like went in crazy. And so the brain dude, he declared himself out. And then Bakugo against his sister, or Zuko's sister, he gets knocked out in about 5 seconds. Boom! And then so then Todoroki, I'll just use this one. So Todoroki against Deku, Todoroki lost. And plus, there's us, the that dark shadow against his or against Zuko's sister is like asking a wood to go into a wood chipper. Boom! Powing, or actually, his, or Malinaga won that with just one punch. And so so now it's between both of them. Like her brother and her, or his sister and him, battling it out. It's like a death match for them. Like, kind of like what they like. So they punch Zuko, or so they punch each other so hard that sent shockwaves out, like all the way around the entire stadium. It was gonna explode in about 5 seconds. As Endeavor's like, at first he's like, okay, these are normal fights, and but then when they got to, what the heck? To So then they reached their peak, and they ended up destroying the entire real city, or not entire, like, Colosseum with that much power. As the explosion of rainbow colored, and it created a cloud that gives their gives everyone the power boost and standing in it. Like Bakugo's explosions became way harder to control, but he, like, it only lasts for a couple minutes. Momo starts randomly creating some objects through her body. And Jiro was doing like, all that. And Endeavor, his flame, he became a blue flame. Or white flame. So then everybody's quirks have been boosted up to, like, past their bodies. Heck, only people that weren't affected by it was Music Mike and Eraserhead. So they, at the villain's base, he says, that those powers, look at all that. As as nurses sees the power, well, I think their clashing is making the world go supernova. As so then he said that, or actually Zuko says, let's end this right here, right now, as he kicks his sister's side. Like, he just straight up used his full throttle, and boom, knocking her out. And it ended. Like Todoroki's ice and fire was getting too great. Sorry, getting too great for it. And heck, All Might's he wound thing that he had on his stomach healed up. And so Shiraki-sen finds that intriguing. Or like, All For One finds that intriguing. Like, huh, yep. Can't wait. As so the after that, everyone like had internship for Zuko and his sister because they were scored the highest ones out of everybody. So then, heck, only or actually two people or two pro heroes walks in, and was those two. Or actually, before they walked in, both of them asked Zuko and her that if you are finding an agency, how about join our agency? Be more or mostly focused on offense, defense, and helping others in need. And we can also, we're much more higher than any pro heroes. Yep. As they're saying, okay. His sister says, and him says, okay. So then they were like, so Principal Nezu, who knew that they were, or because Principal Nezu got noted by those two, so then they like, as all of them says, well, you don't have an agency. Usually, everyone has really, really high, and we already do have agencies that we join in. Yeah, as they're like, okay, remember, or do you remember legendary thing? As they are like, wait, hold on, that legendary, their reputation that had, they're pretty powerful in power. Yeah, and so they were like, okay. So then they join agencies. Agencies. Oh, then they were like, okay, let's do it. So through 2 weeks, or let's say 1 week, and so the hero killer Stain got apprehended by Zuko, the creation and the entire universe thing. And sorry, I was itching my nose. Okay, so that's gross. Sorry. So Malin Naga Midoriya what took the name of or goddess of destruction. Yeah, because name Lauren Malin sounds like a devil's name thing. So they were pretty powerful. So both of them, both Midoriyas, like or Naga Midoriya and Zuko Midoriya, apprehended hero killer Ain with such a like because knocking him out was like okay, good. So then the so their reputation got even higher, like super high, like passes the symbol of peace one, New and mode. So then they're like they head back. She's she almost said bye bye children, or actually bye bye kids. And so they went off and they they had a kid. Like they were gonna think about doing it, but then they were like, nah. But then now they're like, okay. So they had a kid that looked like an ink was child, but with like pink hair. Or like she says, good job. And so they were like, huh, because her power was similar, or they had all three of them could be in the same power level. So they were like, yeah. So then, after they can't, I'm skipping the camp part because one, Zuko already beats Musclear, and two, Moonfish got upperhanded by his sister, or by Inko, or not Inko, by Zuko's sister, and so Koda's parents were still alive. You know? And so then they're like, okay, yeah. So, plus the villains actually grabbed Zuko instead of his sister. So to go back into to All for One. And so All for One says, you did good. Now, turn you evil thing by using brainwash quirk. As Zuko's, who's always been. So he actually used his voice thing and like, or actually his entire hands were glowing and they can never tell. And he tilted his head up and used that like Godzilla's blue flames thing through his mouth as there you are, mother. That's what she's saying. And so the pro hero showed up. They start battling, and Zuko was like, "I'll give you two options, Zuko. One, to join us, or it's flight or fight situation. If you fight me, All Might lives, and you will die. Or two, no, flight and plane and All Might dies. Here, as don't do it, Zuko. As plus Zuko had a special thing. He had like special door. So he says, or third, I'll kill you right here. As he sets, or actually he threw the door and it activates, and like he says, "Hey, All for One, you know what's the difference between you and I? One, hun, is I have friends in places." As he kicks him, or as they like, he's basically like he kicked so hard his Zuko or his helmet or All for One's helmet flew off. Um, he penetrated it with enough force, and he actually pushed, like he kicked him in the chest with such speed. Boom! And so the door, or he used his as hands came out and grabbed All for One and pulled him in. That's what I'm counting on. As he used his own or he like, you know that scene from One Piece where that guy that has like fangs, and he had always like has he uses his fingers, like crosses fingers, and the bubble shows up out of nowhere. Yeah. So basically, he Zuko had that same power, but instead of crossing his fingers, he just like have fun as in space, as the gravity pulls, or like vacuum of space thing pulls All for One out, and he basically died in space as he closes, or it closes the door by itself. As All Might says, "Wow, you did good, kid." And before that was One for All. He passed down One for All, and his power level became much more higher than anyone's. So then, against like all of them, and so Todoroki, instead of Todoroki Deku one, Todoroki actually had a crush on you guessed it, on her. Because he didn't, when he saw her power thing. And so, but at the same time, he is also hates her brother. Just her brother. There. So, he actually told, or he told her that. And during one of the days, so he, or so she says, of course. And then Momo and Jiro and like Froggy, or oh, Froggy. I can't pronounce her name thing. So Suyu was alright. I was itching my tongue. And Mina and Ochako, or actually, let's say Ochako was. I was gonna put Maya in. So Ochako and, or actually, I'll just put those four in that category. And Manetta, him, the one that like him, got put into class 1B. So then there to make room for his sister. So Maya, Jiro, Momo, and Ochako, and Suyu. Or actually, Suyu was asking Dark Shadow out, and then those four was trying to ask Zuko out. Or actually, hold on, I'm trying to think. So, actually, let's change that four things into just one. Was actually not Ochako. I was gonna put Ochako, but I know that Ochako might cheat on him. That kind, but let's say Momo, who asked Zuko on a date thing, because my went for that redhead guy, and then Jiro got the electric dude, and then the invisible girl got Tails, and then the Suyu got Dark Shadow, and then Ochako got Bakugo, and all that stuff. So then he ends up become. I mean, so only person that really admires him when they were like in the third grade um, was actually Toga, but she was too embarrassed to say that she wants to date him, kind. So, and Momo, oh, loves Zuko, but hates his sister. At the same time, it's like it's similar to like Todoroki's. Like he loves Naga, but at the same time, he also hates Zuko because he was number one and overpowered or overpowering, and Momo was similar but opposite. Like she loves Zuko but hates his sister. To her because of she's has way more power than her has. So then they're like, okay. And so Toga decides, okay, it's time. Or actually, she literally walked up to Zuko, not stabbing, but she told him that let's go on a date thing. So Momo and Toga despise each other's because it's like that one scene where or that one picture that from Teen Titans where Raven and Terra was pulling Beast Boy to try to put or who would be relationships with kind, but Zuko told him, I don't mind dating both of you at the same time. As Momo and Toga says, okay. So they both got dating and got married. Right? Because, and after they did the school thing, because Overhaul got beaten before. Because of a certain incident. And so Shiraki-sen got cured from his like madness thing because Zuko had the power to rewrite in their memories. And so he went from being like, oh, I'm going to take or kill all or like decay all the quirks or the heroes thing to what the heck? And, and so, but the overhaul one went a little bit too different. Like, overhaul decides he almost killed Zuko's sister. That really ticks him off. And with a monsterish body thing, he became from being a that into a it's time for you to die here. Boom. As he snapped his fingers and all overhaul did erased from history. Like he as everyone was shocked that how powerful he is. Because during that hero exams thing or whatever that's called, he like clapped his hands or like he did that and everybody paused like items as he had one. So he went and did it to everybody. They all out except for class 1A. As Miss Joke's like, what the heck's who is that? Oh, that's Zuko Midoriya. He is a powerhouse thing. And so then they were like, okay, good. So Bakugo and not at first he like, okay, he has more power than me, okay. But then his sister's like, come on. And so Zuko or so after the overhaul thing got done and that, but then there was a villain was it was the one it was like him. He planted a bomb. It was a erase the entire universe bomb thing. And so because Zuko had was basically like Alien X, he was unaffected by it. So then he used his portal thing, like he used all of his power or as he resets the entire world back to a way it was before it, and he like so he was like tired out, so he fell asleep as they picked him up or they tried to pick him up, but his body was like concrete or something really heavy. So Mentos guy tried to lift him up and put him on the that. So they it was like you know that how they didn't have wheel power or no one's worthy to wield like Thor's hammer and it sticks in the ground. Well, imagine a Zuko, or just Zuko, doing that in his sleep thing. So basically, they put him in bed, and so he's regenerating. His his sister says that was pretty cool. As Bakugo's mother walks in and says that, man, your brother or your son is pretty powerful. And Inko says, yeah, but I can never tell with him. Hey, brother. So that's why Inko. So after it was his regeneration thing, or when he was in like a deep sleep thing, it only took 2 days for him to recover fully. As his birthday was on one of those 2 days. So he got up okay. Remind me not to do that again. As so then her like, okay. And so because they knew that Zuko was sleeping hard, like they thought he was dead at first, but then when he got up and walked around with his eyes wide open, as his sister finds that cool that he can self revival himself without any hesitation. As he says, okay, thank goodness. As he, so his birthday party, or his birthday was, of course, everybody, or actually it was right after those 2 days have passed. So everybody chose to or got him some gifts, like Momo and Toga got him the big refrigerator and some like photos. All of them got him like that. So they were like, yeah, you're sleeping a long time, so feels like it. But then, so then all that stuff going on, it's like, okay, good. Now, and please leave a like, share, subscribe. Please. And before we go, this one, From far away, it looks like she's not wearing anything, but she's wearing her bikini thing. Because I noticed that when. Okay, and finally found a picture of the doctor, looks like. Him. He was working with All for One. So basically, his power level, or basically, it's like they went on a trip. Like, they actually went to San Francisco, or like New York. They went to New York to grab something and came right back. So then, Might trains them, or trains him to becoming a powerhouse and all that stuff. So, and those two were pro heroes, and they, their son, was same power level as. So all three of them could destroy the entire world if they wanted to. So, have fun. And please leave a like, share, subscribe. Or the. So, have fun